I'm making a quick video of Great League Wailord and Remix Cup. Hope you all enjoyed. Once I get enough XLs, probably going to make a video on Ultra League Wailord.
Well, better late than never, I guess. Hello again, YouTube. Welcome back to another video. This is a video that I said I would make a long time ago, and well, here I am now, finally getting around to it. These battles were actually recorded like almost 4 months ago now. I just never got around to featuring them. And today I was looking through some files and noticed that they were still there, and I'm like, hey, instead of deleting these, I may as well just quickly make a video on it. So here we are, Wailord in the Ultra League from like last season, I think. Honestly, it's been so long, I don't even remember what happens in a lot of these battles, so I'm gonna be reacting along with all of you, I guess. So yeah, XL rank 1 level 51 best buddy Wailord in the Ultra League. Let's see how it does. Now, I have actually watched this first battle just to test out my setup, so I do know what happens in this battle, but after that, I am completely in the blind. So Tentacruel is a really bad Pokemon for this team, as it's going to be, you know, resisting all the fighting damage. I try to catch a Scald here, but my opponent very smartly decides to farm up to 100 energy and then switch into a Lapras. Little do they know, I have the Hyper Beam locked and ready to go, hitting for massive neutral damage. Just kidding, it's only half because Lapras is fat. Okay, that's a bit rude. You know, Lapras is just very tanky, okay? Either way, they're going to be going for the Skull Bash. It's not going to KO, and we are going to be able to reach another Hyper Beam. I'm actually hoping they shield this, because if they don't and they farm down with the Tentacruel, which is exactly what they're going to do, I basically have no win con because they have 100 energy, and I have 2 Pokemon that do not want to see this thing. Here, I'm like, okay, maybe if I live a Scald and get off a Night Slash, I can 2-shield farm down Skeledirge. Nope, Skull's just gonna take me out, and it's a... wow. Okay, so my opponent's running some spice here as well. Like, they got the Ultra League low kicks, which is crazy. And I'm just gonna lose. Yeah. I don't really have any play here. I guess Past Me is playing this out just to see what happens, but as we're gonna see here, it's gonna be a simultaneous KO, and they still have a Tentacruel with like 100 energy in the back, so yeah, I can't do anything there. GG's, and hopefully the next battle goes better. Alright, hopping into the next battle. This one is going to be... we're going in completely blind from here on out. I really don't remember a lot of these battles, so let's just see what happens. Malamar versus Pangoro. If there's one thing I learned in this matchup, is that you never shield the first move. I don't think I got superpowered a single time while running this team in this matchup. When it's Pangoro on lead versus Malamar, every single time they go for the foul play. And you know what? If you guys try this, actually, Malamar's kind of dead by the time this video comes out, so never mind. Anyway, we're gonna easily win the 0 shield there because they baited and then didn't shield, and then we're gonna pivot out into Wailord because Pangoro can't do anything against this, so we may as well save it for later. And even if they stay in here, we can still do some decent chip damage with the Scald, and maybe even land a beam here. What do I decide to do? I'm just going straight forward. Okay, let's see what happens. Is this gonna land? Boom! We hit the Hyper Beam, not KOing, but getting it into the red. That is what you love to see. I wish it did a tad more damage, but beggars can't be choosers. So we're gonna get the Scald off, doing a nice chunk to that Drapion, able to bring back the Pangoro, and if they don't have Sludge Bomb, we are going to be able to tank an Aqua Tail here and get to a close combat. Going for the Night Slash because I'm just realizing that as soon as the Skeledirge goes down, I basically win the game. So any chip damage is valuable here, and because I went for the Night Slash, I'm actually able to get to another one. I don't think this will quite KO, but it will do enough. Yeah, Drapion's going to go down to a single fast move, bringing in Wailord to make them throw some energy. They're going to pivot out, but they're going to have to throw some energy anyway. I've still got 2 shields and a full health Skeledirge. There's really nothing the opponent can do at this point. They can throw all the Brutal Swings and Aqua Tails in the world. It's just not going to matter. Let's see, are they going to play this out? Look at that Brutal Swing damage. I don't even have to respect that. Opponent actually gets damage registration error to get off another Brutal Swing. A bit of luck goes their way, but it's still not going to matter. I don't think we're going to be able to get the 2 shield flex. Oh, we are. I mean, I wasn't counting, so maybe they didn't have the move, but I thought they would. Or maybe they just gave up. It's hard to tell. But yeah, anyway, GG. All right, time for the third battle. Wailord, you know, it's not dead weight. It's doing something back there. Maybe it's not the star of the show just yet, but we got another Malamar in the lead. Let's see how this is going to play out. I wonder if I'm going to play it the exact same way I always do, which is just call the first one. Because, again, if I remember right, in the entirety of, like, the entire day I ran this team, I didn't get superpowered once on the lead. So we're going to CMP them there. They have 2 moves here. I'm going to let it go. And what move do you think this is going to be? That's right, it's going to be a foul play. Predictable Malamar players being predictable. We're going to try... Oh my god, okay. A little bit of a risky switch there, but we pays off catching the superpower. And wow, this is a debuff. They're staying in to throw a debuff foul play. They must be pretty weak to Skeleton back. Maybe I should have shielded that. And it looks like I probably should have, considering their best Skeletor's answer is a Steelix. Wow, okay, I am just saucing on these Malamar players. Let's see how this goes down, though. I'm really seeing that they're pretty weak to Skeletor, so I think I'm going to shield this up just to get some extra Incinerate damage and hopefully farm down. We're not going to be able to farm down, so I'm going to switch back into Pangoro and farm down with Cry Chop. It's going to be Virizion, and I'm so glad I saved the Skeletor in back because Wailord does not want to see that. If I live one more double kick, I'm actually able to get to another close combat here, but we are not able to. Sadly, going down to the double kick there because of the debuff from the close combat. Waiting on my switch timer, going to bring in the Skeledirge. Opponent makes a fantastic catch on a Malamar, but at this point, I don't think it's going to save them because they can't really farm down my Skeledirge here, and all I have to do is get to another Torch Song. This will get the last shield, and at this health range, Wailord should be able to close the game, but I don't even think I'll need the Wailord because I can have a shield still, and I can just shield this up, get the Incinerate through, and take them out with that fast move. And we didn't have to show the Wailord. It got to sit on the bench for that game, looking nice and pretty. Hopefully, we get to use it in the next one. Hopping into the 4th battle here, we got Ghost Gary, and we don't even know what elo we're at. I'm sure it's similar to what the previous battles have been, but again, these battles were recorded who knows how long ago, so I can't really say, you know, if they were all from the same set or even the same day, but they were probably pretty close to each other. I don't think I ran this team for that long. Anyway, we're going to switch into Wailord. They're actually letting me get off a Scald there, which is very nice of them, because Pangoro might do a little bit better than you think into Clefable if it's low on health and Pangoro has a lot of energy, so that might come into play later. I don't actually remember if it does or not, but anyway, we have a Hyper Beam landing on a Blastoise. Not enough to, you know, threaten anything yet, but they are forced to throw, otherwise I'll get to another Hyper Beam. And they are going to be throwing the Hydro Cannon. They have a ton of energy here. Probably going to have to give up a shield, but not just yet. Let's see what ends up happening. I actually, like I said, I don't remember how any of these battles go. It looks like I can survive another Hydro Cannon here, so I'm still not going to shield, knowing that they have a Clefable in the back waiting for me. And we're going to go for the Night Slash. Probably a bad play, because, you know, I got a Skeledirge back. But it looks like they're going to no shield and bringing a Zygarde, and woo, boy, that is the fastest top left in the West. We're going to head right out of that game. GG. Man, Zygarde in the back. You hate to see it. Well, nothing we can do now. Let's hop into the 5th and final game of the first set. Is this one set? Again, I'm not sure. But we're just going to stay in this matchup with Shadow Claw Golisopod. This is before Fury Cutter got buffed, so every Golisopod was on Shadow Claw. And we can make their life very uncomfortable here, because even though they're going to be winning the Zero Shield, they're going to take quite a bit of damage if they are not going to shield this. I decided to build up to the close combat, see if we can fish for a shield, although it doesn't really matter. We are going to get this shield, which is actually kind of nice. Let's see what I decide to do here. I could shield this up and reach another move. It looks like I'm going to do just that. We're going to shield that up, reach a close combat, going for, I think that was a CMP. Again, I'm not really counting because I'm just trying to keep up with the commentary. But opponent's going to overfarm there. I try to catch. It is not successful, but the opponent's going to be throwing energy anyway. And it is the X-Scissor. Let's see what they decide to bring in. It's going to be a Fortress. And this Fortress is still running Volt Switch because, once again, this is before the Bug Bite buff. So Fortress was still on Volt Switch and was relatively a spicy pick. But you're going to see here, we get the attack drop on the Scald there. So they're not even going to be able to farm me down here. Volt Switch, while it is super effective, it is very clunky as a 4-turn move. Is that a double debuff? Now I don't even think a Rock Tomb will even potentially KO. It doesn't. So we're able to switch out, get energy head start on our Skeledirge. Let's see what they have in the back. Bringing back in the Golisopod tells me that they might be weak in the back. Skeledirge, you know, sensing that there might be something there could feast on. Bringing in another Zygarde. That is not what we were hoping to see. However, this time it is different. They don't have any shields. I have energy advantage. Oh, I was going to say I have a shield advantage, but apparently I used the shield. These battles go by so quickly. I don't know how commentators do it, man. I get so tired from just commentating one set of battles. Like, I have to take breaks sometimes. How do they do it, man? It's a true talent. Anyway, we're able to land another Shadow Ball and reach a close combat. This will easily be taking out the Zygarde's remaining HP, and all that's left is the low health Golisopod. You're only going to get one Shadow Claw here, and I believe we have enough health on our remaining Pokemon to take the win there. All right, going into the first battle of the second half of the battles for today's video. Looks like we got Drapion into Pangoro. This is pretty good for me because close combat just does a ton of neutral damage. Aqua Tail doesn't really do much. They're waiting for me to throw. I'm waiting for them to throw. Looks like they're going to be throwing first. I'm going to be going for the close combat. Hopefully they did not try to catch. We farm up to basically 100 energy. Opponent is also massively over farming. Going to throw off double close combat here. Looks like that was actually a CMP tie. I must not have been paying attention. They're going to throw off Aqua Tail. We're going to have to shield that because of our now drop defense. Going for another close combat here. I'm probably going to match shields just because Drapion is kind of an awkward Pokemon to deal with. So let's see what I decide to do here. All right, I am going to shield. Now I have to be wary of a catch, you know, because they know they're going to get hit with the close combat. Looks like they're not going to catch. We're going to be throwing the close combat. This might actually not KO because it's not a Shadow Drapion. It does not KO. So we're going to switch in the Wailord, absorb some energy, and hopefully whatever they bring in, we can either Hyper Beam or do some decent damage to. All right, it's not something we were hoping to see. Is a Virizion in the back. So unfortunately, we do not have Blizzard. I don't think Blizzard would even KO anyway, though, to be honest. So we're just going to get off some neutral damage with this Hyper Beam. Able to win the CMP tie. That's actually massive. Wasting the opponent's energy as well as getting some nice neutral damage. Look at that. Virizion is relatively bulky, but you know, that Hyper Beam still hit pretty hard. So now we can get some nice farm on Skeledirge. Most Virizion are not running Stone Edge, and it is a Registeel in the back. That is absolutely what we wanted to see. Torch Song is about to start lighting things up as we ramp our attack. Registeel gonna be going for the move here, probably a Zap Cannon. Even if they get the debuff though, I don't think that saves them, because like I said, that Virizion in the back is most likely not running. Yeah, we were able to farm down there as well, and it was just over at that point. Even if they had Stone Edge, we would just win the CMP tie, so there wasn't much they could do. All right, hopping into battle number 7, really hoping that, you know, we've landed a few Hyper Beams, but I feel like Wailord could be doing better here. You know, it's not ranked that high on PvPoke for a reason, but I want it to do well. Looks like this is a Sand Attack Gliscor, a bit of spice going on here. Able to reach a Scald that does some solid, super effective damage. They're going to be reaching a move here. It's probably going to be the Earthquake. If they're staying in, I imagine they don't have a solid response to Wailord. And it looks like that is the case as they bring in Golisopod, thinking that they resist all of my charge moves, but trainer, do you know who you're facing? It's the Hyper Beam, landing, almost KOing the Golisopod. And if I shield, I believe I can actually take Switch here. But do I even want it? I decide I do not want it. An Aerial Ace Golisopod, that is not good news for my Pangoro. Luckily, Aerial Ace is not the best move, so we're going to be able to tank that pretty easily. Looks like they're going for the Aqua Jet, just blind throwing it, not even waiting for anything to come in. We're able to get the farm down with Pangoro. Unless they have a Fairy type, this energy is going to go ballistic into this Gliscor. This Night Slash easily going to be able to knock them out if they don't shield. And let's see what they have in the back. It's going to be a Typhlosion. So we're going to have the battle of the fire types in the end game here. But my fire type can boost its attack. And they decide not to shield that. So now I see the vision. Every time that they throw a move, they let a full Incinerate sneak through. So I think all I have to do here is just farm them down. Let's see. Here we go. Yep, I'm just going for the farm down. They throw a move, a full Incinerate sneaks through. That's a ton of damage. And look at this. We're actually going to be able to farm down a fire type with Incinerate. And now, you know what? I really like that team. So shout out to the opponent. GG's, and let's hop into the next one. You know, as tedious as it is to make a YouTube video sometimes, I do quite enjoy watching back these battles. and just talking about them and analyzing them. It's quite fun just to see, you know, what maybe you could have done differently, what you did well, maybe some cool plays, stuff like that. Anyway, I'm yapping now. They're gonna go for the Skull Bash? That is a crazy move to throw into Pangoro there. It doesn't even KO, so we're going to be able to spam close combats. They're going to catch on a Tinkaton, but Trainer, you do not want to lock a Steel type in when I have Incinerate. And here we go. Skeledirge looking for the farm down. Bulldoze gets the defense drop, but it's not going to be enough. They're going to get to another Bulldoze. This will not KO, and Lapras is going to have a tough time farming down. No debuff comes through there. They're going to bring in a Galarian Moltres. We are able to get off the Torch Song here, which will ramp up our damage. Opponent looking for the farm down. I'm going to throw the move right away. A boosted Torch Song coming through. Finally gets a shield from our opponent. I decide to let the Skeledirge go down. And looks like we're going to be bringing in the Wailord. I do quite like this play because, you know, we can decide when to bring in our Pangoro, and they'll be the ones that have to switch. Going for the Brave Bird. They're going to be switching here. And we're going to bring back in the Pangoro. All we have to do is get to 2 close combats, and this Lapras will feel the fury. Close combat 1 gets a shield, looking for the second. They're going to be getting off the Sparkling Aria. I decide to let it go. It looks like we're finally going to see Wailord get some action in this endgame here. Normally my moves are resisted, but we're not running Blizzard today. We're running the Hyper Beam. Let's see it land. Boom! Lapras goes down and Moltres comes back in, wanting to finish off the game, but they don't even want the smoke. The opponent resigns the match and Wailord sweeps the endgame. You absolutely love to see it. Man, it was good to see Wailord finally get to shine in the spotlight, even if it was just for a second. You know, I really enjoyed using this team. It wasn't good enough to get me to Legend, I don't think, last season, which, fair enough. I mean, it's not ranked high on PvPoke for a reason, but I had the best buddy rank 1, so I had to try it. Either way, we got another Gliscopod in the lead here. I don't know how I'm going to play this. Okay, it looks like I'm going to be switching straight into the Wailord. I do remember this is kind of how I like to play it, because Wailord, you can just save switch it for free, and a lot of times your opponent won't really know what to bring in, just because, well, it's a Wailord. What are you going to do? Opponent lets me get to the Hyper Beam. They know they survive a Scald, so they might actually try calling this. And they do! Down goes the Gastrodon. Opponent realizing that they made a fatal error, losing about, what was that, 60 or 70 energy? Oof, that's gonna hurt. And you know what else is gonna hurt? This Scald coming in here, easily gonna be KOing the Gliscopod if they decide not to shield. And they are going to shield. Sadly, we don't see the debuff. However, that's gonna be okay. This Gliscopod is low enough now, and we have a shield advantage, so we should be able to take care of it. I decided to bring in the Pangoro. Unfortunately, we get 1 turn lag. This is probably before the Elam trick was discovered. Either way, they have Galarian Wheezing in the back, and this isn't actually that great for Skeledirge. However, up a shield, I think we'll be doing just fine here. Probably gonna under tap because they're so spammy that if I go for another Incinerate, they're gonna reach another Brutal Swing first, so we may as well start boosting our attack right away. Opponent gonna be going for another Brutal Swing here. It doesn't quite KO, but I got 2 shields. Might as well use them. Going for a Brutal Swing here. We're 1 away from the Torch Song. Opponent, once again, the spamminess of Galarian Wheezing is unrivaled. Able to get to another Brutal Swing, but that doesn't KO. Opponent could try for a catch, but at this point, I just don't think it's going to work out for them. They might try to switch to get some Shadow Claw damage. That is what they do, but they get 1 turn on switch. We go down simultaneously, and they're able to farm me down. I think my only win condition there might have been to predict when they'd bring in the Gliscopod and throw the Torch Song, but we were unable to do that, so GG's to the opponent. Alright, hopping into the 10th battle. Let's see what we got going on here. Another Gliscopod. Let's see if I decide to play this any differently. Last time we saved the Pangoro, it did not work out very well. Let's see if past Ike was able to adjust his strategy and perhaps take a win here. No Night Slash boost. Have I gotten any boost in this video? I don't think I have, but that's okay. We don't need the boost to win. We just need to start playing better and start playing smarter. Going for the Night Slash here. Looks like I'm probably going to be soft losing this matchup. I don't hate that strategy. Oh, and we are able to successfully make the catch. That is a massive catch. Although I don't know if switch locking our Lapras is the right decision. But it turns out in this case it is, because I would hate to see a Lapras on my Skeledirge back. They think we're walled. We're going for the Hyper Beam. This is definitely not going to KO, but it's going to do some solid neutral damage. And it's actually going to be a CMP tie. Is this the Skull Bash? Because if it isn't... Okay, I was setting myself up for that to not be a Skull Bash, but it was, so we just get farmed down. That's a bit awkward. Moving on, we're probably gonna have... Oh, we're not shielding up. Okay. Past Ike is playing this risky. That, and it's Pangoro in back. I don't really see a win condition here. That Lapras in back is probably going to get to a Sparkling Aria. And we're gonna have to eat a Night Slash here. This is not looking good. Going for the under tap. It looks like up 2 shields though. A Skeleturge may be able to beat Pangoro. But, like I said, that Lapras in the back is just waiting to throw a Sparkling Aria. So I do not see this being a win, especially with the Golisopod still being alive and back. I'm still playing it out anyway, looking for any chance to take home a win here. Let's see what the opponent decides to do. They're going to double shield the Pangoro. I'm going to be forced to the shield as well. This Night Slash will be KOing, and I have to throw the move into the Lapras, otherwise they will reach a Sparkling Aria. Opponent does a really heads up play there, banking a Karate Chop's worth of energy and saving the Pangoro, trying to hope that they can get to another Night Slash. I'm looking for the double up. I'm able to get the double up before the Lapras reaches the Sparkling Aria, and this is massive because Pangoro, I think, is 1 Karate Chop away from the Night Slash if they were playing that the way that I think they were, and we're able to take home an improbable win. Okay, it looks like I have one final bonus battle from these sets. Okay, I know what this is. This was even earlier. This was before Wailord got rollout in the season. This was probably early 2025. I actually don't know when this was recorded. I'll probably throw it up on the screen when it was. But yeah, we're on Water Gun Wailord because it did not get rollout yet. Going for the Hyper Beam into an XL Lantern. Let's see if it connects. It actually does connect, and let's see if we can get to a Surf. Able to reach a Surf on the CMP tie. This might actually KO. Let's see if Wailord can force a shield from our opponent. Actually forcing a shield on the CMP tie. Wailord putting in as much work as it can. However, there's still the core breaker that we have to deal with, being the Steelix. Giratina going for the farm down. Easily able to absorb anything that Lantern throws here. It's all going to be resisted. And now, here comes the big problem. The Steelix. This was back when they run Dragon Tail and not Thunder Fang, so Giratina, especially on Dragon Breath, not going to be doing well here. Opponent staying in, realizing that ground is pretty good against electric. However, I do have one saving grace. Can I land the Focus Blast? I have to land this to have any chance in this game. They still have a shield left. I decide to go for the bait, thinking that they might realize that Steelix is really good to my team, and it works! Able to grab the shield, and we're able to reach the Focus Blast on the last second. Let's see how much damage this does. Oh, it doesn't quite KO, but it gets the damage that we need. Now we can safely... Am I going to shield this? We're not going to shield it. It is just a Psychic Fangs, not a crunch. My defense drops permanently for the rest of this game, which is not good. However, we have the Shadow Force running this team with triple nukes, and we are going to be landing all 3 of them in one game. Look at Giratina flying off into the sunset there. This game isn't quite over yet, though. The Scald coming through, not going to KO, but getting us deep into the red. Dragon Claw will be able to KO the Tentacruel, but can we farm down the Steelix in time? It's going to be close. Can we get there? Dragon Breath going through, able to get the KO, and the Steelix goes down. What an incredible game. I can see why I included that as a bonus battle. Well, anyways, those were the battles. While I do think that Wailord was able to shine in certain circumstances, definitely don't think it was the main contributor to a lot of the wins there. I think that would go to the Pangoro Skeleturge pairing. However, when it was able to do something, it was pretty cool, and I quite enjoyed running this Pokemon. Definitely would not recommend it for trying to gain Elo though. I have no idea how it's going to do in this current season or in the next season. Either way, hope you all enjoyed the video. Have a good day, and I'll see you all in the next one.